Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Planetary Persuader. I'm KozMcKev, your host, sans beard and excess hair. And this is for the weekend beginning Friday the 8th of May, 2020. You know, you're looking for your twin, good communication, someone that's fun to be with. You know, it's really nice being in a relationship, a good relationship. And so some people will fall in love with their exes from the past, because a lot of times it's a love from the past that comes back with Venus retrograde. And you know, you got to look at that part of the chart too. It's like, where is Gemini in a tropical astrology chart? So like in a tropical astrology chart, let's pull it together here. 21 degrees Gemini. Okay, so what do you have in Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, Virgo at about 21 degrees? That is the area that you're going to be getting the most hits from this particular aspect. Okay. All right. What's the next question? Today's moon. Well, today's moon is Anurata. In the sidereal zodiac, we'd find it in the constellation of Scorpio. And the part of Scorpio that it's in is a lunar mansion and is Anurata. Now, Radha is like Shiva's wife, I think. She's a beautiful woman, or maybe Krishna's favorite wife. I don't know the myth exactly. And so Anurata, there is this beauty. One of the symbols is a lotus. Now, it's got two malefics basically ruling it. Saturn's the ruler of the nakshatra, the ruler of the lunar mansion. Mars is the ruler of the sign of Scorpio. But the thing is about Anurata is there's this ability to make friends and to reach out, even in hard times. And one of the things is I'm committed. You know, you want to be committed to meeting a person and committed to living in two different cities. These are the kinds of commitments that Anurata is. And it blooms like the lotus. So like the lotus is its symbol. And the thing about the lotus is it has to die in the drought, in the mud, to release its seeds. So the rainy season comes again and everything's like beautiful and it's like floating and it's just all blissful. And that's how it is. And you get that scorpionic story there of dying in the mud and going. Now in Western astrology, we say the moon's in Sagittarius. And I know, some of the Western astrology fans are like, well, that doesn't make any sense what you just said. But I think if you really get down to the deeper level, any of you in that part of the sky, especially if your moon is there or your rising signs around there, which I think is like pretty much the early half of Sagittarius in the Western horoscope, maybe the very last couple degrees of Scorpio in a Western chart. That's where the action is. And it's interesting to note, too, with this moon is opposing Venus. And so, we're already seeing this, of course, it's a waning moon now because we just had a full moon a couple days ago. So we're coming down from the big fat full moon on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, basically. That's when the moon really peaked out and did its thing. So, beyond that, you've got Uranus, Sun, Mercury in Taurus right now. And that's feeling pretty good from what I can tell. We are going to have Mercury go into Gemini this week, though. So there's another switch. Another wonderful switch. And so that happens on Monday at 2:58 p.m. So bada bing, bada boom. Mercury joining in with Gemini. So we got the two Raja planets now in Gemini. So definitely expect there to be a lot of impatience and desire Corona time. Dr. Fauci, let's make $1 million and build a better vaccine and get everybody chipped out. No. With Monsanto, with the help of Monsanto, the Clinton Foundation, and Bill Gates Foundation, they will rule the world and everything will be perfect again, right? I don't know. I really don't know, but I mean, even with digital dollar, it really got me thinking to myself, there needs to be an alternative for people to keep their own wealth, to create their own kind of economies, maybe to barter, to trade, to become independent within communities on a small scale. So when the big stuff doesn't work, we've got some plans, we've got ideas, maybe making biodiesel out of your old oil and stuff. There's a lot of ways we could do things. Convert to electric cars, who knows? But I think this is a great time for possibilities. Now, here's the thing. We had this little relief from the Cal-Sarpa Yoga. And the Cal-Sarpa Yoga is when all the planets are on one side of the chart. But the last, 8-9 days, we've had this like kind of relief in a way, where the moon has gotten out of that area of the sky and gave us like a handle to kind of go, oh yeah, remember partnerships, remember other people, oh yeah, remember friends and, activities. So there's a little bit of that was going on. But it's going to go back. Back to another, another couple weeks of intense Cal-Sarpa Yoga. And you'll definitely notice this by Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, a good 13, 14 days of that stuff. Okay, sign by sign, here we go. Aries, let's talk about you and this whole thing. For you, it is all personal. And yeah, you do take this personally. And you want to see an end to this. And you're hoping things are going to get a lot better. Now, next weekend, we'll have a moon in Aries. That is not happening this week. This week, we're working on it. But it's going to be the way it is, for a while here. By Sunday, moon will be in Capricorn for a couple days, Pisces, and then by the end, probably by next Friday, we might be seeing what we call the good old-fashioned Aries moon. Well, I think it's more like Sunday. So we don't really have moon in Aries till Sunday. So you're next week, a week from now. So you're chill. Just keep doing what you're doing. All right. Mars. Mars should be in Aquarius, yeah. And I think it still is, although it is about to go into Pisces. And that's another thing. Boy, there's so many things switching this week. We've got Saturn retrograde, we've got Pluto retrograde, we've got Jupiter retrograde, and so, just Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus are going to be retrograde. This is a big deal. Mars is doing its thing. And Mars is going to be in Aries by late July. Okay. Or by July sometime. Mars right now in Aquarius till, I think, Thursday. And it's going to be different then because when Mars goes in your 12th house, you kind of have to confront the self. And, there might be people with hidden agendas for you, that you have to watch your back. But beyond that, it's all about self-work right now. I think this is a good weekend to, watch this astrology show, take in some higher teaching information, and then, as you go through the work week, apply it to your career life, your social life. You'll do some good things. Okay. Well, hello, Taurus, and welcome to your horoscope. Well, this is interesting because I see a lot of financial shifts for Taurus because of Venus being in your second house. So it's either you're going to be hoping for money that's not there yet, or spending it in a way that might be considered foolish. Now, if you're a Taurus that's born, say, after the 14th of May, then chances are pretty good that you're sidereal Taurus as well. So the actual sidereal part of Venus is in Taurus. So this is a powerful Venus, actually. This is a Venus that can bring sustaining love in some ways. But I think a lot of things in relationships may feel a little bit imbalanced, a little bit rocky at this time. And just knowing this can help you hold on to a more peaceful and better situation for yourself. Mercury moving into your second house, I mean, you've got a lot to talk about. You like to talk. Taurus is considered, by Stephen Forrest to be the quiet man in the sign, and we're talking tropical astrology, evolutionary astrology in this case when mentioning Stephen. So for people born basically April 20th to May 20th, they've got themselves, a satisfaction. There's not much to talk about, but they do seem to like music, eating, art, music and eating especially. Okay. We're moving forward. Here we go, Gemini. So Gemini, you get all the love, You're holding Venus captive. Gemini, the kidnapper of Venus, of 2020. I mean, now how is this true? Well, the washing of hands, Gemini rules the hands, so we get this whole thing, washing hands over and over again. Gemini is also the lungs, and Gemini is, in a lot of ways, how we communicate, and so everything in electronic communication can be less than satisfying. Maybe that's more so true of the older generation, people 40 and older. I'm not really sure about, I think younger people growing up with it became so familiar with it. I think especially, I think of millennials as like November of 83 to like the end of 95, basically. After that, 96, they become something else. Before 80, before late 83, 83, if you're born, most of 83 is more like Gen X, it's not, pretty much for sure, if you're born between 84 to 94, that is that's deep millennial, right there. And, what a frustrating time it's been because, a lot of your life is still on hold and, most of you are Saturn returning now and, or have already. And so it's like, we're supposed to be full on adults now and this just feels weird. But for Gemini, it's like Mercury comes into your sign, so it's like a nice bright light and you're turned on and you have a lot to share and talk about. You're more attractive than usual, so people want to love you, and partly because you're fun. People like to be with fun people. That's something. Except for those who aren't fun, and we don't want to be with them anyhow. So it's cool they got somebody. It's like, oh great, I'm glad that's over with. Yeah, for you, too, Gemini, I think you got to think about Sun in the 12th house. 12th house is a bunch of losses. Uranus transiting in 12th, it's like your intuition is kind of up on things on a world scale, what's about to come down. Don't ignore that stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of crazy crackpot information out there, but I'll tell you, the mainstream narrative is designed to swindle you, to hypnotize you, and to get you to buy a bunch of crazy shit that you don't really need. Greetings, Cancer, and welcome to your horoscope. Let's see, we've got North Node still kind of resting. Is the North Node finally split your first house? I'm like going to myself, how do I not know this yet? Nope, North Node has not gone out yet, but it should. No, it is. The North Node's in Gemini. It is. This is our first week with North Node in Gemini. I didn't tell Gemini about the North Node being there. We'll really get down on you next week. Okay, so here we have North Node, and now in your 12th house. And, there's planets in the 12th, the 11th. The 11th's where the sun is right now. So your social life is kind of a big deal. And think of all these weddings, all these parties were planned in the 12th house, and it's just not. It's not a thing, you know. It's not something to really get too worried about. Um, it's just something that you got to just pray, meditate more, isolate yourself. Boy, haven't we been doing that? Sure. Um, we can do that. So keep that in mind. Um, we've got ourselves, a big night to keep in, and just realize that the love you have is going to pay off. Right now, there's a lot of responsibility. Some of you work in the food profession, health profession. A lot of you are hands-on, and you are taking extra risks to help people. So I appreciate you. Okay, we're going to Leo land here. And here in Leo, it seems like there's been some real hard things in the world of relationship, in the world of contracts that you're looking at. And you're trying to bring peace to those things. You're trying to bring peace to what was rough, what might have been a little bit aggressive. The weekend looks fun. I mean, basically, today, tomorrow look like a really good time. Great time for being with children. Great time to have like a social distance party if you're allowed to. If you're in one of those, snitch on everybody's cities. Oh, God almighty. Here in America, I never thought it would come to this, but, well, I certainly was ignorant. Super sad. It's super sad because many of us just intend the most loving, kind things for the world, the planet, and each other. And if we veer from the dominant paradigm of a conversation, suddenly it's like we become dangerous. And that's really sad, because for you, Leo, it's like a lot of hard work right now. You've got some things that are, you got to look at your health issues again. You have to pay attention to your spiritual life on a transformational level. That's good. It's not, and that just takes practice. You're still focused on work right now, I guess, getting in what you need to get in. And it seems like your social life is sort of erupting into something that's fun and interesting and amazing, even though we're in social distancing. I don't, it depends on the kind of Leo you are. I mean, some are quiet and, home buddies, and some are major leaders and organizers, and, some are, drunk or incarcerated. I don't know. It's like, or maybe both. Greetings, Virgo. Welcome to your horoscope. Okay. So, the magical wonders of Virgo. Taurus time is generally a really good time because it's 9th house, it's time of the guru. Now we got Mercury moving over into your 10th house. So, I see like some kind of career opportunity coming up for you. I don't want you to squash your potential to do that. I'm just like at just sort of a loss right now as to where to put things for you. So you had maybe it was a little bit, it got wild suddenly in your neighborhood on the full moon night, on Wednesday night, or maybe on Tuesday night, and now you're coming out of that, and you're looking at ways you can build your own inner happiness this weekend. Maybe just working on your house, make it nicer for the hotter weather season, and getting a garden going, all those kind of things that would suit you just fine. And I think when you start your work week, you're going to feel creative, you're going to feel your heart open, you're going to feel more love. Okay. Well, hello, Libra, and welcome to your horoscope. So yeah, it's funny, there has been, I suppose, an explosion of long distance relationships, not in person relationships, like almost like pen pals, or they're just you Zoom each other, or FaceTime, or Facebook Live, or one of the other modes of getting your camera out and having a little talk with each other. Um, and this is a difficult time too, because you feel like other people have the power and the control right now. And frankly, there's some of you Libras that are maybe a little bit cynical, and probably rightfully so, because there's a history of missing pieces of history. I think if you look at women's movement history, they'll call it her story. And this is especially true because, mostly men held a narrative. So we don't get fair representation of women's views often. Now, does this mean that everything's bad for women? No, it doesn't. But they're, they're working on improving from years of oppression. And does it mean everything that men do are bad? No, it doesn't. But, there's a certain quantitative privilege with the system designed as it is that in some cases, not prison and stuff like that men receive. Not always in divorce cases either. I mean, there is some really gnarly stuff too that men face, but it's we're not getting a complete story of what's happening. So everyone's voice has to be heard, and that includes women's voice, and that's something that you could give voice to, is what I see in this time period. Is like women's history and bringing studies of art from other culture. Just like how Ry Cooder and Paul Simon did that. They go to other countries and try to integrate their style of music with what they're doing. And it's a beautiful thing. Greetings, Scorpio, and welcome your horoscope. So, I mean, the full moon was about you. And right now, you're in this place where you're being a partner and a lover and a person who's trying to negotiate under unusual, unpredictable situation. Libido's definitely up with Mercury and Venus and now the North Node in the 8th house. And so, partly one of the things I'd say is just in this situation, since this is about as close as the North Node is going to be to Venus, they're going to be close, and so, there's going to be a lot of really weird things happen with, people having affairs and crazy relationships and entanglements, and it could really potentially hurt things. So you just have to stay really conscious in yourself about what you're doing before getting yourself messed up into something. I think that this week is going to be good for you, and it's mostly about settling within yourself and your own family, your parents, your brothers and sisters, old friends, and just securing what is good is really a big part of the theme too for you. Greetings, Sagittarius. Welcome to your horoscope. Well, this weekend is made for you. Taurus season for Sagittarius is, not peachy dandy. There's a little war between Venus and Jupiter. More Jupiter against Venus getting out of control than Venus against Jupiter. It's hey, anyone who could expand anything fun is great with me. And you're well, are you going to do the work to get there? Are you going to have the faith beyond carnality to show some generosity? And so, Jupiter wants us to be generous. Jupiter wants us to acknowledge the needs of the poor and less fortunate, and will reward us and make us rich people if we help others. That's really true. There's an element of that. So giving donations. In fact, the word in Sanskrit in the Hindi version of Sagittarius, they there's Danu, and Dana is like giving donations to people too. So there's like, when we look at Sagittarius, we look at someone who's like generous and is giving a lot of times, and that's what we associate it with. I mean, Mars still in Aquarius this week, but you've got it's in the third house for you, so that's movement. That's positive movement. That's a really good place. You have a lot of courage right now, Sagittarius, so you're going to help bring truths out. I mean, you're in a place right now where you're doing work, but there's also an element of romance potential. But once again, you got to be careful because this person may want more than is really a balanced relationship. And that's, and we're in Kalsarpa Yoga, this is a weird time. Okay. Well, greetings, and Capricorn, welcome to your horoscope this week. So, what we've got here is Pluto and Jupiter together, and Pluto and Jupiter together can cause miracles sometimes. And boy, we could certainly use a miracle at this time. And on another scale, we have Saturn and Mars in the second house. I mean, be really careful with your words and what you say, because it could cause potential conflict and problems. I think one of the best things we can practice is self-forgiveness. And I mean, I'm going to say this to you. Practice self-forgiveness and practice forgiveness of others, because holding grudges, you got to be smart about people that might take advantage of you, but holding grudges because you had an unpleasant time or whatever it was, it's not helping you, and I just want you to be released and free. Taurus time's a good time because you want to be in your heart, boom, boom. And Uranus is there too, and this could be such an inspiring, opening, wonderful time for you where you do good works and those works are noticed. Greetings, Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope. So, I mean, things have gotten real, things have gotten serious, things have gotten to a place where you're really trying to focus on your own happiness and just kind of stay grounded in what's been presented in front of you. Honoring your parents, honoring your mother. I mean, this is Mother's Day weekend, so, I mean, well, it'd be nice to Mom. Do something good for her. We want to honoring our mother, honoring Mother Earth, honoring women. If you don't have a mother, find an older woman that may not have kids or something and do something nice for them. I mean, that's really a good way to go about it as we honor the feminine in this time period. Even though things can be rough, I mean, you're in a more creative phase. You're going to make things, you're going to do things, people are going to listen to what you have to say. It's actually going to get better. And greetings, Pisces. Welcome to your horoscope. Well, I mean, it's pretty full right now. I mean, Jupiter is there in your 11th house, so it's like we need to maintain those social connections, even if they're in a different way. The moon will be there, so it seems like Sunday, Monday, there's possibility that you'll get together with people. Taurus time is about your family, friends that are peers, like cousins, siblings, people you knew in high school, maybe undergrad, all that, communication, working with the hands. They say elementary school, but I think it's a little longer. We're living longer these days, folks. What kind of person did you become between the ages of 14 and 21? That really has a lot to do with what's going on in your mind this time of year. And you're trying to find happiness. You're trying to find value amidst your restlessness and all your really big plans. And like I said, things are going to get better. And thank you for sitting in on another episode of the Planetary Persuader with me, KozMcKev, your host. Like, subscribe, love your comments, keep them coming. Be with you next week.